Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the Cirque Colors 2025 Glazed Collection. There are 6 polishes here altogether. The Glazed Collection is always jellies, so these are all squishy, semi-translucent colors. I will link the Cirque Colors website down below where you guys can check these out because they are available right now. I also have a coupon/affiliate code with Cirque Colors, which will be on the screen and in the description box. I will also have comparisons at the end of the swatches, so 6 polishes altogether, and let's get into it. So Cirque Colors polishes do come in boxes. These are the boxes that they come in, the standard boxes. Sometimes you get special edition boxes for certain collections, but these are the standard ones. So the first polish is called Sweet Mint, and this is described as a light green crelly. This is the only crelly in the collection. The rest are technically jellies. A crelly being a slightly creamier version of a jelly polish, crelly and jelly combined. Very light and sheer on the first coat, a little bit uneven, but honestly better than I expected it to be. I do have some pretty bad ridges on my nails, so those are really going to show if a polish is not perfectly even. A ridge-filling base coat would solve that problem, but I'm not really sure where the balance is on fairly swatching. Like, is it cheating to show it with ridge-filling base coat? I don't know. I just go no base coat. So this builds really well on the second coat, and the mint color starts to come through really nicely once it's built up a bit. Still a little uneven, but not terrible. I really floated my third coat here, which is just applying very minimal pressure to the brush to mitigate any of those uneven spots and streaks that I had, which did work really well. Covered really nicely here on the third coat. A little bit sheer still, but it is by design. This is a sheer collection. So that is 3 coats of Sweet Mint. So the next polish is called Sherbet Jelly. This is an orange coral jelly polish. It seems that this one is not a new polish. This was previously known as Fuyu Jelly, which does not come up in my comparisons because I do not have that one. This is a jelly, so it is sheer. The last polish being a crelly had a little bit more coverage to it. Seems pretty even on the first coat. It is very sheer and kind of close to my skin tone, so it's hard to tell for sure until we get a little further along, and the formula feels really good. The color builds really nicely on the second coat. You can start to see that orange coral coming through, and it does look pretty even. This built up more on the third coat. It does have that nice jelly squishiness to it. It's very even. There is a bit of nail line showing, but it is a jelly polish, so that is by design. So that is 3 coats of Sherbet Jelly. The next polish is called Pitaya Jelly, and this is described as a magenta pink jelly. Sheer on the first coat, great formula here, and very even. I do usually try to do a thinner first coat of a jelly, not really worrying about coverage too much, just trying to get a good base layer of that polish down, and it will build better over itself in the successive coats. The color builds up really nicely on the second coat, and a little bit more coverage, though it is still pretty sheer. And this one is very nicely even as well. I really can't see any streaks or those ridges on my nails poking through. The color and coverage built up really nicely in 3 coats. A little bit of nail line if I really looked for it, but this was a mostly full coverage polish in 3 coats. So that is 3 coats of Pitaya Jelly. The next polish is called Lolly Jelly, and this is described as a watermelon pink jelly polish. Great formula on this one, and decently saturated on the first coat. There's a lot more color to that first coat of polish than I was expecting, and it also applied very evenly, didn't show those ridges on my nails too much at all. Color starts to build up really nicely on the second coat. I feel like you could probably get away with 2 coats here and it would still be more opaque than something like Sherbet Jelly was in 3 coats. But I did add the third just to see what it would do, and it deepened the color. It made a very nice, pretty decently opaque neon pink. Neon actually might be too generous. It's a very bright pink. So that is 3 coats of Lolly Jelly. The next polish is called Açai Jelly, and this is described as a dusty, dark purple jelly polish. So this one is very smoky and sheer on the first coat. The formula feels really good, but it is a bit uneven. It's hard to tell here with 1 coat, but you can see it a lot more in the next coat. The color starts to build well, but it does show those streaks and ridges on my nails, and just overall is a little bit patchy on the second coat, even though it is building up. The third coat built the color up really nicely. It did even out a little bit more, but you can still see just a bit of that unevenness, a bit of those ridges and streaks in my nail even after 3 coats. The nail line is also covered pretty well because it is a darker color, just a little bit uneven. So that is 3 coats of Açai Jelly. And lastly, we have Curaçao Jelly, which is described as a vivid turquoise green jelly polish. Great formula on this one, also sheer on that first coat. It is a jelly. It's also a bit uneven over those ridges on my nails and just kind of overall a little uneven on the first coat. It starts to build up nicely on that second coat, both in coverage and in color. It is still a little bit uneven, but it is pretty minor here. The color built up well and the polish evened out really nicely here in the third coat. This is a darker, more saturated color, but there is still a decent amount of visible nail line showing. It's not dramatic at all, but it is more than even Lolly and Pitaya Jelly had. So that is 3 coats of Curaçao Jelly. I forgot to make my little speech about the comparison section when I started it earlier. So for comparisons, I do stick within the same brand just because of the sheer volume of my collection, but I do always welcome suggestions of things that you want to see put together. So first up we have Sweet Mint, which is going to be right here. The only one that I had that was even a little bit close was Jade Jelly, because I was looking for something that was also sheer and squishy. Even not sheer and squishy, I don't think I had anything close to Sweet Mint, but Jade Jelly was the closest one that I found, which is obviously a much darker shade of green. Next I have Sherbet Jelly, which is going to be here, here, and here. This is Peach Jelly, which is obviously much lighter and peachier. This one here is Hearth Jelly, which is a little bit darker and leans a little bit more pink. This is Jarritos Jelly, which is a little bit darker, but kind of along the same lines. And then this one is Saffron Jelly, which is much more yellow, like a yellowy orange. So next up we have Lolly Jelly. This first one is Guayaba Jelly, which is a darker, lighter pink, where Lolly Jelly is very almost neon. And this one is Poppy Jelly, which is actually really close. It's a little bit darker, but they are very, very close, which I'm surprised by. If you look at them in the bottle, this is Lolly here and Poppy here. Poppy looks very, very red versus Lolly being very pink. They don't look like they would be this close once they're on the nail. So there's definitely an argument to be made for these two. Next is Pitaya Jelly, which I have right here. The only thing that I had that was even a little bit close, because it's a very warm kind of purple, was Pink Lady Jelly, which is obviously a much lighter pink. I have the cooler purples coming up next. Next up is Açaí Jelly, which is going to be right here in the middle. This is Ube Jelly, which is also a cool purple, but a much lighter cool purple. And then this one is Haze Jelly, which is lighter and I think also a bit more sheer in general, but they're very close, like along the same lines. So if you were looking for a darker version of Haze Jelly, that like kind of smoky purple, it's going to be Açaí Jelly for sure. Next up is Curaçao Jelly, which is going to be here and here. This first one is, and please forgive me. Oh, stop, lady. I'm trying to figure it out. This first one is Toronja Jelly. Toronja? I don't know. This one is a little bit more green versus Curaçao Jelly being a almost kind of teal, kind of in between. This is Cobalt Jelly, which is obviously much more blue. Again, Curaçao is kind of the in-between shade. And then this is Lagoon Jelly, which is a much lighter blue. I think Sweet Mint is going to be my favorite. I think it's the most unique out of the collection. Açaí Jelly is a bit unique in like the smoky, cool purpleness of it, but it was also a little bit uneven. So I picked this one because it's just not something that I could easily duplicate in my collection. And I'm always a sucker for these light, minty greens and blues anyway. So that is the 2025 Glazed Collection from Cirque Colors. Again, I will link Cirque Colors down below where you guys can check these out. I also have my coupon/affiliate code with Cirque Colors, which will be on the screen and in the description box. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later.